Welcome to Vegas Live with Ninon. I'm Ninon, your host, and you know who's sitting right next to me, Sally Olson, and she's a tribute to the Carpenters. And
That's right.
you've been doing really, really well, even though we've had the pandemic and we've had all this crazy stuff going on. You've still been working a lot. I've seen this name, the Carpenters, all around town.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, I mean, despite the pandemic, we used that time to just keep busy on the show, but mostly show-related behind-the-scenes projects. We wrote our Christmas show last year.
Is that a new show?
It's a new show, yeah.
Okay.
But we did debut it in the holiday season 2020. We had the chance to do 4 performances, but we spent that entire year writing the show.
I was going to say, but that was when the pandemic was on.
Yes.
So you managed to perform. How did you manage that one?
Well, we did one.
They've got strings,
Yeah.
so they know people.
Well, I won't say that we made money, but it was
Not supposed to make money these days.
But yeah, it was nice to be able to do some performing.
Absolutely. Also to keep it up, because I
Yeah.
understand, and I only learned this recently, that a singer, still if they're not performing, they still have to sing kind of every day to keep the vocal cords going. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would say so, and
Yeah.
and also the issue of having a live audience, in front of you. We did some live streaming here and there, but nothing replaces the energy that you get from a real audience.
Yeah.
So we did do our Christmas show. The debut performance was at the Space here in Las Vegas, and then we did 3 performances in Grapevine, Texas, at the Palace Theater. Of course, with limited or
Seating and everything. And
seating,
I
restrictions.
know I was
but
in one of those shows up
Yeah.
in Summerland, and I'm sitting here, and then 4 rows, there's someone over there, and there's some, and there was like a dozen people in the whole place, because that's all we can fit in here, and I'm like, ah.
Right.
But at least it's some audience, I guess. It's something. So what are you working on now, Sally?
Well, we just finished a 6-week residency a month ago at Stoney's Rockin' Country, and
How did that go?
it was great. We had the opportunity to perform twice a week with our Vegas band. So the show, which was already really tight, but we got even tighter.
You've
for
got
that
to leave it
repetition.
tighter for
Yeah,
everything.
and so
But when we're talking about we're talking about Ned.
Yes.
Ned Mills, right?
Yes.
Yes, which is which would be your brother in
Right.
the Carpenters, was the brother and sister. Just to make sure that we are 2
Yeah.
people. Ned is not here today because I think he's performing or he's working out there anyway. He's
Yeah,
getting his
he
neck
couldn't be
together.
here, so.
Yes. So.
But I came.
Yeah, but you came anyway, which is beautiful. It's wonderful. I've never ever interviewed you by yourself anyway.
Yeah,
Now,
that's right.
on that,
Mhm.
do you sing by yourself? Do you go out there and do anything on your own?
Not usually, just because we're so busy with the Carpenters show, and
Yes.
that's our focus. But every once in a while, if the opportunity arises,
You'll do
I
some.
will.
Now, what about
Mhm.
Ned? Does Ned? Because I know Ned is an incredible pianist.
yes.
Does
yeah.
he do other things as well?
Yeah, he does. He's often gigging with other people or doing lounge acts, and he's the musical director for a handful of other people's shows. in
Oh,
town,
how
too.
wonderful!
So,
Wonderful.
he
So,
keeps pretty
and
busy.
is he finding everything sort of coming back together again? Or do you find things are coming back together again?
Mhm.
Because a year and a half without anything kind of happening, and now
Yeah.
they're still dilly-dallying with it.
It's not, it's not as fast as we would have liked for it to be,
No.
but it's definitely a lot better now than we were a year ago, which was we weren't doing
Nothing.
anything a year ago.
No, I mean, can anybody ever think? Could you ever think in this entire world that Vegas would be shut down of all gambling, all entertainment, and people? I mean, because this is the entertainment and music city of the world.
Mhm.
So for you being in the business, how did you take it?
It was pretty difficult, I won't lie. We definitely had some kind of depressing days, and we just kind of muscled through and, trying to stay positive. But I think the saving grace for us was having other show-related projects to work on to keep us busy and just,
Yeah.
mentally inspired and,
Because you have to do something. You just can't sit at home all day
No.
long, trying to record something or do something.
no, I can't just kick back and watch Netflix day after day.
No,
That
I
doesn't.
don't think
I
that-
like to be productive.
Yeah, me too. I usually have I usually have the news channel on or something that I'm going to learn by, but it's always the computer that you keep learning and doing things on it. So what have you got coming up?
Well, after the residency at Stoney's,
Because you just finished that.
yeah,
Yeah.
gosh, it's already been a month, but we've been keeping busy because we do have a little bit of downtime before the fall when we start getting busy with performances again. But
Yes.
so in the meantime, we've been working on an album, for our show, and it's basically the album is a recreation of our show. So people who come to our Carpenters Tribute Concert, if they want to
They can buy
purchase
the
CD,
CD.
they can more or less take the show home with them.
Absolutely. Is this the
Right.
first time you've done that?
Yes, aside from recording some demo tracks,
Yeah,
this is the
but
first.
you've got the actual whole show recorded. And are you doing that in a studio?
We are. Yeah.
You are, so the sound and everything is difficult. Sometimes when you record, when you've got audience and everything, although it's the whole show, the sound doesn't come out as good. So in a studio, it's perfect.
Right.
And you pleased with it?
Very, yeah, really pleased with it.
What
Yes,
made you
it's
come
great.
in? What made you? And I can see why. Actually, I'm going to ask rather a silly question. You know, why did you become a carpenter? Number one, because of your voice, and number two, you look very, very much alike.
Yeah.
Was that the sort of put it together?
Those were certainly important factors. Several, actually, it was back in 2014. I had been studying voice professionally for a while, and I wanted to put together a one-woman show. And so that's how it started.
Oh, that's how it started.
But I didn't know what I wanted to do, and then.
So Ned wasn't even with you then?
No, I wouldn't meet him for another 3 or 4 years.
Oh, really?
So I was performing as Karen Carpenter, just as Karen Carpenter without the Richard component
Richard part.
for
Yes.
a few years there. But yeah, it really just came together because I wanted to do a one-woman show and always having loved
Why did
music.
you choose a carpenter? Was that because your voice gravitated that way, or because you had the same sort of look and the same?
Both, but first and foremost because I always loved music of the 60s and 70s, and so that narrowed things down. And then through virtue of just reading through music, it was like, oh, well, this is a very good fit. And I love the Carpenters. I love their music.
And did you feel when you started, singing, the songs and getting that feel of her, did you really kind of feel like it's, this really is a match?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Because that's how it comes over on stage with you. It comes over like it's like a very natural thing for you to be doing. It doesn't come on like pretending or doing this or doing that. It comes on like, wow. It's like it's amazing. You started, as you said, in 2014 singing?
Well, I started singing as a kid, but I started working on the Carpenters show in 2014.
2014.
Yeah.
So you always had your show, but not as a carpenter.
Actually, well, no. Before the Carpenters show, I didn't have a show,
Oh,
but
you
I
didn't
wanted
have
to have a one-woman
But you always
show,
wanted one.
and that it became a Carpenters Tribute.
With the young ladies out there, what would you advise them? Because I always like to bring the younger generation in. You've been through a lot. You know sort of the pathway that you have to go. What would you explain for a young lady out there to do kind of the same as what you're doing?
For an aspiring singer?
Yes, inspiring singer.
I would say, well, first of all, it's definitely important to do vocal training with a skilled teacher
Yes.
who has a legitimate background in
Of
teaching
course, yeah.
voice lessons. And I've taken different types over the years, but I think the one that was a real game changer for me is the Seth Riggs method. And so I studied that. I didn't study that method until I got to Las Vegas. And so that was kind of the missing piece for me. And then secondly, as an artist, not just a performing artist, but any type of artist, if your art form is your passion, then, and if you really don't see yourself being happy doing anything else, and having a 9-to-5 job, but I'll do the art on the side.
Do you want a 9-to-5 job, or do you want to be an entertainer?
Yeah. So I mean.
That's a big. Those are two completely different.
Right. So I mean, if in your heart it's what you want to do, then by all means follow that passion. Otherwise, you're going to be wondering the rest of your life.
I wish I'd tried it, or I wish I'd done it, or at least. Okay, so the message from Sally is that if you're the younger generation out there, because I always love you all and I've got your backs, if you're going to go in the entertainment business, try it. If you really like it, try it, and then you can make your mind up. And do it if you want to do it, or whatever you want to do. But don't ever sort of go through life saying, oh, I really wanted to be a singer. And the reason I say that, because I wanted to be a singer.
It's never too late.
My vocal cords might not be.
Well, I got started much later than most people would. So.
You did?
I didn't start, when I started training professionally, I was in my late 20s, so
I guess that is. I
mean,
don't know.
These days, most people start a lot younger.
Yes, they seem to.
But-
These days, they seem to like them from like 16 to 25. That seems to be where you kind of fit. And before that, you can sing. But after 25, they you're old hat. We want younger ones in. So I'm definitely old hat. But that's okay. Always try it.
Right, and that's why you create your own show, because then you don't have to be cast and fit a certain type.
No.
It's your show.
Yes,
and you
can
cast
do everything.
yourself.
Yes, and you cast yourself. Do what you want to do and everything else. So, yes, and always go out there and do what you want, because that really is the main thing in life.
Right.
What is life, right?
It's a journey.
It's a journey that you can.
Self-discovery. I mean, I had to take some detours to find out that I needed to be in the arts, and that's good too, because you learn what you don't want to do by doing it.
Yes.
And it redirects you back to what you
What
meant
did you
to
do before you took up?
Well, I mean, I went. I'm from Vermont, and I went to Middlebury College, and I majored in studio art and French. The visual arts used to always be my focus, and singing was something that I did for fun. But after college, it's not always easy to find a job with a liberal arts degree.
Not at all.
And so I spent a year in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, at the Philadelphia Academy of Fine Arts, doing a graduate program.
So you've had quite a lot of training, haven't you?
And I've kind of been all over the place.
Yeah.
But with that training, I realized that, well, if I want to be an artist, I'm also going to have to teach, and I didn't really want to teach, so I went back to Vermont. My whole family's in dentistry. So I got into dentistry for 4 years. And that was
looking in people's mouths,
I don't know what I was
wishing
thinking.
you were singing, looking in their chords and saying, "There's some great chords in there. They could be singing." That's funny. That really is.
But my point with that is that I had to spend 4 years doing something that I really didn't like.
Didn't like doing, no.
And to snap me out of it and get me back on the track that was right for me.
And of course, did your family, they probably wanted you to stay in the dentistry, and you wanted to go singing.
Well, I mean, my issue at the time was that, I need a career, something reliable, that I know I can make money, and it sounded like a good idea.
So it's something you can always go back to, though, couldn't you?
Well, I mean,
I don't really want
I got
to,
the knowledge, but I've let those licenses lapse, over a decade ago, so.
Yeah. So what are your plans now? You've got all this happening, so what you've got coming up when you're starting your...
Yeah, so starting in September, we'll do a show here in Las Vegas at the Starbright Theater on September 4th, and the following weekend we're in Pennsylvania at Sellersville Theater, and then the theater up north, which is in Scranton, and then the weekend after that we're going to be in New York. We don't know the venues yet. We're waiting to hear from our booking agent about that.
And then wonderful. This is all very exciting.
And then the weekend after that, we're in Southern California at the Lancaster Performing Arts Center. And then the weekend after that, we're in Grapevine, Texas at the House Theater.
Oh, you've got a lot of traveling going on.
Yeah.
And as I'm sure you're going to be traveling back home, because you're probably there just for the weekend.
Yes, so the shows are on the weekend, so we'll come back to Vegas
on the Monday,
I think we'll be pretty tired after September.
I'm exhausted. And then you also have a regular booking at Christmas time, don't you? You have regular shows coming up?
Well, like I said, last year we did our Carpenters Christmas show, and that would have been the plan this year. However, I was offered another contract with Legends in Concert, so I'm going to be at their theater in Foley, Alabama this holiday season. November,
wonderful.
December, doing their Christmas show.
Doing their Christmas
as
show.
Karen.
But as Karen, not as the Carpenter.
Correct.
So you're going to sort of blossom out there. Are you looking forward to that? Is
I
something
am,
a little different?
Yeah. Legends is always a lot of fun. Well, I mean, I've done one prior contract with Legends, and that was in Myrtle Beach 2 years ago, and it's a lot different than what I do with my show. In terms of, I'm one headliner amongst 3 or 4 other ones.
Yes.
And when you each come on and you do your
But
15-minute
your
spot,
name
but
up
it's
there
a
and
lot of
everything
it's a
else.
lot of fun.
What's the excitement when you see your name up there? I mean, you must look at it and think, wow,
Yeah, it's
Must be
kind of
very
surreal,
yeah,
and then
it's very exciting.
I never thought that would happen, but
See?
it's happening.
It
so.
happens. Well, you know why it happens. Perseverance.
Yeah,
This
there
young
is some
lady,
hard
Sally,
work involved.
Sally Olson is very, very good at her work. She works all the time. You do a lot of PR, because I see it on all Instagram. I see it everywhere. You do. How can anybody reach you?
Well, our website is carpenterstributeconcert.com. That's Carpenters with an S, and we're also on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and all the social media icons are on our website, of course.
So as usual, step into social media and you will find Sally, the Carpenters. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for
Absolutely
having me,
amazing. I just love to follow her. Well, I've known you. You were on my show, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago.
For the
And
first time,
first time, yeah,
I hadn't been in town, I don't know, more than a few months or
Yes,
something.
that's right.
Mhm.
And you came on the show and everything else. So she's definitely reoccurring on my show. Thank you for watching Vegas Live with Ninon. Don't forget to go to YouTube and subscribe. And the more we have, the merrier it gets. We'll be right back next week. You take care. If you enjoyed the last show we just did and all the other shows, don't forget to subscribe. Vegas Live with Ninon on YouTube. We've got plenty more coming up and our guests are amazing. So don't forget to subscribe. We'll be right back. Vegas Live with Ninon.